Hello everyone, this is part 1 video on past year NEET questions from the topic equilibrium. So in this we will cover questions from both the chemical equilibrium chapter as well as the ionic equilibrium chapter. We will start with the first question. This is the question that has come in the NEET 2019 paper. Which will make basic buffer? So we have been given 4 different types of mixtures, and in this we have to conclude which will be the basic buffer. First, let us understand what is a basic buffer. So what is a basic buffer? If we have a weak base plus solution of its salt with a strong acid. So weak base and strong acid salt. So any weak base we take and the solution of the salt of weak base and strong acid, that particular composition is what we call as the basic buffer. So here if you look at it, so option A is talking about what? HCl and NaOH. So here we are basically talking about mixing a strong acid and strong base. This is never going to be a buffer. So strong acid, strong base solutions are never going to be buffer solutions. They will undergo neutralization. Then the option B as well as option C, in both of them we have weak acid which is mixed with a strong base. So what happens if you are mixing a weak acid with a strong base? Then it is going to be giving us a salt. What will be the salt it is going to give us? It will give us a salt which is a weak acid strong base type of salt, and these solutions, right, will not be again giving us basic buffer. So basic buffer is only going to come when we have a weak base with a solution of its salt. Its salt should be with the strong acid. If you look at option D, what is option D? Essentially 100 ml of 0.1 molar HCl, means if you multiply the volume with molarity, right, we are having how much? So we can see in this particular neutralization, first we have HCl and then NaOH, NH4OH, right. Ammonium hydroxide is the weak base. So if you look at the neutralization of the HCl and ammonium hydroxide, we have 10 millimoles of HCl, 100 ml into 0.1 molarity, and we have 200 ml of 0.1 molar ammonium hydroxide, means what we are having? 220 millimoles. So we have 10 millimoles of HCl and 20 millimoles of NH4OH. So if the reaction is happening, that is going to form NH4Cl, ammonium chloride. This is the salt of weak base with strong acid. And here, as the neutralization is completed, we will see that HCl is the limiting reagent, means after the neutralization also we are going to be having some excess. So this will be the excess. So we will be having some excess ammonium hydroxide. So if you look at what is remaining in the solution contains what? It contains the excess ammonium hydroxide, which is the weak base, plus the salt of the weak base with a strong acid, which is ammonium chloride, and this is going to be the basic buffer. So the correct answer for this is option D. Next we look at another question that has come in the same NEET 2019 paper. This is based upon the solubility product. pH of saturated solution of calcium hydroxide is 9. The solubility product KSP of the calcium hydroxide is how much? Now sometimes in questions like this, right, it is expected that we have to consider the pH value or the pOH values are measured at room temperature, though they are not explicitly said. So here if they are giving us pH of the solution is 9, this basically means what? If we consider that, the temperature where we are measuring it is room temperature, the value of pH plus pOH will be equal to what? 14 at room temperature, which means if pH is 9, then pOH will be equal to 14 minus 9, it will be 5. So pOH is nothing but what? Minus log of OH minus ion concentration. This is 5, which means OH minus ion concentration will be 10 to the power of minus 5. So this is the OH minus ion concentration. Now from here, because where is the OH minus coming from? It is coming from the dissociation of calcium hydroxide, or it is coming from the solubility of the calcium hydroxide. If you look at the solubility equation, right, every calcium hydroxide molecule on getting dissolved, it is going to give us 1 Ca2 plus ion, 1 calcium ion and 2 OH minus ions. Means if we consider the molar solubility to be S, if we consider the molar solubility value to be S, then the concentration of calcium 2 plus will be equal to what? S, and concentration of OH minus will be equal to what? 2S. Why it is 2S? Because every one calcium hydroxide molecule is producing 2 OH minus ions. But what is the OH minus ion concentration here? It is 10 power minus 5, means the 2S value is equal to 10 power minus 5. So S value is obviously equal to what? Half of that. S value will be half into 10 power minus 5. So understand clearly how we are getting it. Since we have already the OH minus ion concentration, which is nothing but equal to 2S value. So S value will be equal to what? Half of that. So now what we are having? We are having the concentration of Ca2 plus and we are having the concentration of OH minus ions. So we can use the KSP formula. What is the KSP formula? For calcium hydroxide, KSP will be equal to what? The calcium 2 plus ion concentration into OH minus ion concentration power 2. Why? Because if you look at the solubility of the ions, the solubility product formula, the concentrations of the ions produced will be raised to the powers. What are the powers? The powers are nothing but the suitable coefficient. Here you know the calcium ion coefficient is what? 1. That's why it is power 1. Here the OH minus ion coefficient is what? 2. That's why the power is 2. So here the calcium ion concentration is half into 10 power minus 5 and OH minus ion concentration is 10 power minus 5, but we have a square here. So if we check it right, it will be what? 0.5 into 10 to the power of minus 15. So this is the KSP value. So the correct answer is option B. So of late, if you look at the recent years of NEET, we do get a lot of these questions on either the pH calculation, pOH calculation part or the solubility product. Let's look at another question. So this is the reason why we consider the equilibrium to be a very high weightage chapter. A third question in the same year, NEET 2019. The conjugate base of the Bronsted acids H2O and HFR. It's a straight theoretical question. If you have a Bronsted acid, how we are going to get the conjugate base for this? We will get the conjugate base for this by removing H plus. So from any substance we remove H plus means we are going to get the conjugate base for that. Clear? So if you look at the substances given to us, we are given H2O and HF. Remove H plus from H2O, what will be left with? OH minus. So the conjugate base for H2O is what? OH minus. Similarly, if we remove H plus from HF, we will be left with F minus. So the conjugate base for H2O is OH minus and conjugate base for HF is what? F minus. So the correct answer is option D. So for any substance, if you want to obtain the conjugate base, remove H plus. If you want to obtain the conjugate acid, for any substance, we have to simply add H plus. So adding H plus will give the conjugate acid for the substance. Removing H plus will give the conjugate base. This is a question that has come in the NEET 2019 Odisha paper. The pH value of 0.01 molar NaOH solution will be. So it's a straight question. So if you look at NaOH, it's a strong electrolyte. It is going to completely dissociate to produce Na plus ions and then OH minus ions. Means whatever is the concentration of NaOH, the total, because every one NaOH molecule is going to give us one OH minus. Means if 0.01 molar is the concentration of NaOH, the concentration of OH minus is also going to be what? 0.01 molar. Means if you know the OH minus and concentration, we can find pOH. What is pOH? Minus log OH minus and concentration. That is the pOH value. So minus log OH minus and concentration is what? 0.01. 0.01 we can write as 10 power minus 2. So which is what? Minus. So minus 2 will come forward. Log 10. What is log 10 value? 1. Minus of minus 2 will be 2. So pOH value is 2. If pOH value is 2 means the value of pH is going to be 12. So we are again assuming that this pH and pH are related at the room temperature, because the relation what we have is at room temperature conditions the pH plus pOH value will be equal to what? 14. Otherwise in general we have to say means it will be what? pH plus pOH value will be equal to pKW. pKW is called as, KW is called as what? KW is called as the ionic product of water. KW is called as ionic product of water. At room temperature the value of KW for water is what? 10 to the power of minus 14. So here pH plus pOH is 14, means pH will be equal to what? 14 minus pOH, which is 14 minus 2, that is equal to 12. So the correct answer for this is option C. Next we have another question, same Odisha paper NEET 2019. Which of the following cannot act both as Bronsted acid as well as Bronsted base? Means we have to conclude which of them cannot act both as the Bronsted acid as well as Bronsted base. Now if you look at any substance, right, if there is a substance, it has to act as a Bronsted base, means it must be able to absorb H plus, because that is the Bronsted base. What is a Bronsted base? It is a proton acceptor, and if it is able to release proton, then it will be able to act as an Bronsted acid, because you know what are Bronsted acids? Bronsted acids are proton donors. So the Bronsted-Lowry theory is based upon the concept of proton acceptor and proton donor. So proton donors are what? Bronsted acids, and proton acceptors are what? Bronsted bases. Now here we have been given a list of 4 substances, and we have to conclude which of them cannot act both as a Bronsted acid as well as Bronsted base. If you look at each of these options, right, if you take HCO3 minus, it can absorb H plus and it will be forming what? H2CO3, carbonic acid. It can even release H plus, thereby it will be forming carbonate ion. Similarly NH3, it can absorb H plus, it will be forming ammonium ion. It can even release H plus, it will be forming NH2 minus. Similarly HS4 minus, it can take H plus, it will be forming, after taking H plus, it will be forming sulfuric acid, H2SO4. It can even release H plus. If it loses another H plus, means it will be forming what? Sulfate ion. Whereas if you look at the HCl, right, HCl can lose H plus, it will be forming Cl minus, but HCl cannot gain H plus. Means among the 4 substances given to us, the one that cannot act as both the Bronsted acid as well as Bronsted base is HCl. So the correct answer for this is option C. Another question that has come in the same year NEET paper 2019 Odisha. This is a question based on the common ion effect. Common effect in case of the solubility. This is a common effect in case of the solubility. So let's look at the question. The molar solubility of CaF2 Ksp value is given. What is the Ksp value given to us? 5.3 into 10 to the power of minus 11 in 0.1 molar solution of NaF. Means we have to find what is the molar solubility. S value we have to find. When the CaF2 is getting dissolved in the presence of, it's not getting dissolved in pure water, it is getting dissolved in the presence of 0.1 molar solution of NaF. So what happens if it is getting dissolved in the presence of NaF? Generally if you look at it, right, what is the solubility expression for the CaF2? It is going to give us every one CaF2 molecule will give us 1 calcium ion and 2 F minus ions. Means if we take the molar solubility to be S, then the concentration of Ca2 plus ions will be what? S, and concentration of the fluoride ions will be equal to what? 2S. Why 2S comes? Because every one molecule of CaF2 is giving us how many fluoride ions? 2 fluoride ions. Now here the thing is, the solubility of the CaF2 is not happening in pure water, it is happening in the presence of NaF. NaF is of course a strong electrolyte. It is going to undergo complete dissociation. Means if we take 0.1 molar of the NaF, then it is going to give us as per the balanced expression, right? Because every one NaF molecule gives us one sodium ion and one fluoride ion. It is going to give us 0.1 molar of Na plus ions and 0.1 molar of F minus ions. So here the F minus ions is the common ion. We can see the F minus ions are coming in solubility of CaF2, and F minus ions are also coming in the dissolving of the sodium fluoride or NaF. So if you look at the solubility product expression for the CaF2, what is the solubility product expression? Ksp value is equal to the calcium ion concentration into fluoride ion concentration power 2, because as per this expression, right, what is the numerical coefficient for the fluoride ions? 2, hence the power becomes what? 2. But here, since we have a common ion, right, fluoride ions are what? Common ions. Calcium 2 plus ion concentration is S only, but fluoride ion concentration will be equal to what? 2S, which is coming from the dissolution of CaF2 plus 0.1. And if you look at the order of Ksp, right, what is the order of Ksp? 10 to the power of minus 11, means the molar solubility value will be less only in comparison to the F minus ion concentration coming from the sodium fluoride dissolution, which is 0.1. So what we can do is, in this F minus concentration, what is the expression? 2S plus 0.1. So we can neglect this 2S value. Why? Because since the Ksp value order, we can see it is what? 10 power minus 11, right? The F minus contribution is going to be negligible from the dissolution of CaF2. Majority of the F minus is going to come only from the sodium fluoride. So we can take approximately the F minus. This approximation is important, guys. Why are we making it? We are making it based on the order of the Ksp value. We can see what is the order of the Ksp value? 10 power minus 11, and typically this is in the cube range. The Ksp is in the cube range of molar solubility, means we can neglect the value of the F minus coming from the CaF2 in comparison to the value of F minus coming from the NaF dissolution. So thereby we will take the F minus concentration to be approximately equal to what? 0.1. After this approximation, right, now what is the Ca2 plus concentration? Yes. What is the F minus concentration? 0.1. Ksp is given to us, so we just have to substitute. If we substitute the values, means what will come to us? Ksp is 5.3 in 10 power minus 11 is equal to S into 0.1 the square, means we are looking for the S value. So S will be equal to what? We will bring it to the LHS denominator. 5.3 in 10 power minus 11 divided by 0.1 square. So 0.1 square means what? It is like 10 power minus 2 in the denominator. So overall what we will be having? 5.3 into 10 to the power of minus 9 mole per liter. So what is the correct answer for this? The correct answer is option C. So here the thing that we have to be careful about is how we are bringing in the common and effect concept. That is one. And this simplification we are doing. So most often in NEET examination, when we have common and effect, right, problems based on the common and effect, we will have these situations where the concentration of the ion coming from strong electrolyte is going to be significantly higher in comparison to the concentration contributed by the equilibrium. So generally this is the equilibrium. So the solubility equilibrium will be in the case of the dissolution of calcium fluoride. So in this case the F minus contribution coming from the CaF2 part is negligible in comparison to the F minus contribution coming from the NaF part. With that simplification we are able to quickly get the answer. Let's move on to the next question. This is a question that has come in the year NEET 2018. So we are given 4 sets of solutions. The following solutions were prepared by mixing different volumes of sodium hydroxide and HCl under different concentrations. pH of which of them will be equal to 1? So what do we need to find? We need to find pH of which of the solutions will be equal to 1. See, pH should be equal to 1 means what? This means H plus ion concentration must be equal to 10 power minus 1 or 0.1. That's it. So pH 1 is possible when the H plus ion concentration is equal to 10 power minus 1 or 0.1. So we'll have to just go through each of these options. So if you look at option A, what is it? 60 ml of M by 10 HCl, 40 ml of M by 10 NaOH. So if you multiply the volume with the concentration, right, what we are going to get? Here we can see 6 millimoles of HCl plus this is what 4 millimoles of NaOH. After neutralization, what we'll be having? We'll be having 2 millimoles of HCl divided by what is the total volume? 60 plus 40 is what? 100 ml. So the milli is cancelled and we will see this is the the concentration of HCl. That will be of course equal to concentration of H plus ion, because HCl is a strong acid. It will dissociate completely to give us H plus. Whatever is the excess HCl, right, it can give us the H plus ion. So we can see here 2 by 100. What is this? This is 2 into 10 power minus 2. So that is the concentration of HCl, which will be of course the concentration of OH minus. Is it equal to 10 power minus 1? No. So this is not. Similarly, we can check the option B part. What is option B? 55 M by 10 solution, 45. So if you look at it, right, this is what? 5.5 millimoles and this is what? 4.5 millimoles. So remaining is what? 1 millimole of HCl. Divided by what is the total volume? 55 ml, 45 ml, 100 ml. Milli is cancelled. So what is this? 10 power minus 2 molar. That is the concentration of HCl, which will be equal to the concentration of H plus. So here also this is not equal. So we are looking for what? The concentration of H plus to be equal to 10 to the power of minus 1. Now for the lack of space, what we will do is we will have to rub these two calculations. So we are done with both option A as well as option B verification. So what essentially we are doing, we are given the concentration of the acid and concentration of the base that are mixed. We are just checking out the neutralization. After neutralization, whatever is the acid left over, right, we are finding the concentration of that. Now we will come to the option C part. So here what we are having? 75 ml of M by 5 and 25 ml of M by 5 means 75 into 1 by 5, that is the number of millimoles of HCl, that is what? 15. And this side what is it? 25 into 1 by 5 millimoles of NaOH. 5 ones are 5 5s. 15 minus 5 is what remaining? 10 millimoles of HCl is remaining. And what is the total volume? 75 ml plus 25 ml. What is it? 100 ml. So milli is cancelled. What is this? 1 by 10 or 10 power minus 1. So that is the concentration of HCl, 10 power minus 1. Since HCl is what? Monobasic acid and a strong acid, whatever the concentration of HCl, the same will be the concentration of H plus. H plus concentration will be what? 10 power minus 1, which means the value of pH is going to be coming as what? 1. So the correct answer for this is option C. So we are not working out option D here. We can still work it out and check that also will not be satisfying the pH value equal to 1, because when the H plus concentration is 10 power minus 1, that is when the pH value will be equal to 1. Let's move on to the next question. This is a question that has come in the year NEET 2018. This is another question based on the solubility. The solubility of barium sulfate in water is 2.42 into 10 power minus 3 gram per liter. So just pay attention to this. Generally, whenever we say solubility, right, we will be talking about the molar solubility. So whenever we say solubility means we talk about the molar solubility. What is molar solubility? Number of moles of the salt that are present in a given volume. So typically this is in terms of the molar concentration, moles per liter. But here they are talking about the solubility in terms of gram per liter. Then the value of its solubility product KSP will be. So we have to find the KSP value. See, first we are not given the molar solubility. We are given the solubility in terms of mass. So how are we going to convert the mass based solubility into molar solubility? Because we are given the molar mass of barium sulfate. What is the molar mass of barium sulfate? 233 gram per mole. The molar mass of barium sulfate is given as 233 gram per mole, which means we can find out what is the molar solubility of barium sulfate by dividing the gram solubility with the molar mass. So if we divide the gram solubility by the molar mass, what we are going to get? We will get the molar solubility, which means 2.42 into 10 power minus 3 divided by 233, which is approximately what? 1.04 into 10 power minus 5 mole per liter. So always remember, if you have the gram solubility, we will divide the gram solubility by the respective molar mass of the salt. We will get the molar solubility. And we have the molar solubility, yes. So if you look at BaS4, right, BaSO4, how does it ionize? It will ionize completely to give Ba2 plus ions and SO4 2 minus. Means every one barium sulfate will be giving us what? It will be giving us one barium 2 plus ion and one sulfate ion. Means if the molar solubility is yes, the concentration of barium 2 plus ions will be what? Yes. Concentration of sulfate ions also will be equal to yes. And we have to find the KSP value, right? What is the KSP formula? Barium 2 plus ion concentration into sulfate ion concentration. Here both of them, the powers will be equal to what? 1 and 1, because the numerical coefficients are what? 1 each. So KSP is equal to what? S into S, which is S square. Already we have the S value 1.04 in 10 power minus 5. So it will be 1.04 in 10 power minus 5 the square, which will be approximately 1.08 into 10 power minus 10. So here even if we are not going to do this calculation, right, we can conclude the answer by looking at the exponential part, because 10 power minus 5 the whole square is what? 10 power minus 10, and we can see the options, they are quite different in terms of the powers of 10. So that gives us some flexibility in terms of doing the approximations. So it is not like we have to get to the final answer up to the last decimal place. It's about how fast we can do that little bit of approximations that can save us time. So generally students feel that the equilibrium questions and thermodynamic questions, they will be little bit time taking. Again, the reason could be because if we are looking at getting the answer to the last decimal place, maybe we are probably not in the right direction of solving questions. From the NEET perspective, I am saying. I mean, there is nothing wrong in getting the answer up to the last decimal place by multiplying 1.04 into 1.04, but if we can arrive at the answer in a quicker manner without really going to do this calculation, right, that is going to be of help for us, especially when we are looking to solve around 45 questions in around 45 minutes. That's what we need to be targeting in the NEET chemistry part. Okay, so keep all these things all these ideas. Let's go to the next question. This is a question that has come in the NEET 2018 paper. This is a question based on the Le-Chatelier principles. Which one of the following conditions will favor maximum formation of the product in the reaction? So what is the the reaction given to us? If you just look at the reaction, right, what is the reaction? A2 gas plus B2 gas gives rise to H2 gas. And what is the thing they are saying? Delta H for the reaction is what? Negative. Means they are saying it is an exothermic. So we need to talk about the favorable condition for getting maximum product. Means the reaction must move in the direction of this product, which is our X2. So if you look at it, for the exothermic reactions, right, exothermic reactions, what are the conditions favorable for the product formation? It is low temperature, because high temperature means what? For the exothermic reactions, high temperature means the reaction goes backward. Low temperature means the reaction will be going in the forward direction. So in terms of temperature, what is the preferred condition? It is the low temperature. So these are the conclusions based upon the Le-Chatelier principles. Then talking about the pressure, right, if you look at the reactant side, we have A2, which is also gas, and B2 also gas. The total number of gas moles is what? 2. On the product side, there is only one entity, which is X2. The number of gas moles on the product side is what? 1. We want the reaction to proceed in the product side. means we want to make sure that the reaction is proceeding in a direction where the number of gas moles are less, and that happens when the pressure of the system is increased, because when the pressure is increased, the equilibrium is going to move in a direction where the number of gas moles is less. So which means in terms of pressure the condition is what? High pressure. In terms of temperature we must have low temperature. So what will be the favorable condition for this? Low temperature as well as high pressure. So in these conditions we will be able to have maximum amount of product formation. Next, a question based on the idea of equilibrium constant expression. This kind of questions, they have come in multiple years. So look at this. There are a set of 3 equilibrium reactions. First is what? N2 plus 3H2 gives rise to 2NH3. For this, what is the equilibrium constant? K1. Second, N2 plus O2 gives rise to 2NO. For this, the equilibrium constant is what? K2. Third, H2 plus half O2 gives rise to H2O. For this, the equilibrium constant is what? K3. Now, using this data, we have to find what is the equilibrium constant K of the reaction. So this is the reaction for which we have to find the equilibrium constant. What is the reaction for which we have to find the equilibrium constant? 2NH3 plus 5 by 2 O2 gives rise to 2NO plus 3H2O. For this, the equilibrium constant is expressed as what? K. Now we have to tell what is the value of K in terms of K1, K2 and K3. But before we go to the question, right, we need to understand how the equilibrium constants are related. If you have step reactions, let's say equations like 1, 2, 3, and we are able to add these equations to get an overall reaction, then the relation between the equilibrium constants is the product of equilibrium constants of these step reactions, right, will be equal to the equilibrium constant of the overall reaction. What is the relation in terms of the equilibrium constants? If you have step reactions, by adding them you get the overall reaction. The product of the equilibrium constants of the step reaction will be equal to what? It will be equal to the equilibrium constant for the overall reaction. That is the relation. Now if you look at it, right, see, we may also have to modify the given equilibrium reactions. It is not like we simply add all the 3. So when we add these 3, right, we are not going to get the overall equation. We can see how, see, in the first equation ammonia is 2 moles in the RHS side, but our overall reaction, right, ammonia is 2 moles on the LHS, means we may have to modify the given equations. So when we modify the given equations, right, the equilibrium constants also will change. So let's see what is going to happen. See, in the overall reaction we want ammonia 2 moles on the left hand side, means first equation we have to reverse it. So if we reverse the first equation, write it. What is the first equation going to be? 2NH3 gives rise to N2 plus 3H2, and accordingly if you reverse a reaction, the equilibrium constant is going to become what? Inverse. So for this, what will be the equilibrium constant? 1 by K1 it is going to be. Now in the second reaction, right, we have 2 moles of NO. In the overall reaction also we have 2 moles of NO on the RHS. Means second reaction we will not disturb, we will keep it as it is, because we require 2 moles of NO on the RHS side. In the overall reaction we already have 2 moles of NO in the RHS side. For the second reaction we will keep it as it is. So the equilibrium constant for that is again K2 only. Now the third reaction part, right, look at this. Third reaction we have H2O. So we have only 1 mole of H2O, but in the overall reaction we have 3 moles of H2O on the RHS. Means what? We have to multiply this by a factor 3, and whenever we multiply an equation by a factor, the equilibrium constant will be raised to the same power. Means if you multiply this equation by factor, the equilibrium constant will become what? It is here, it is multiplied by number 3. Means the modified equation equilibrium constant will be equal to what? K3 power 3, K3 the whole cube. So we have modified these equations. Now we can see if we add these 3 equations, right, we will be able to get. So if we add it, we can check what is going to happen. So we can see that N2 is cancelled. We have 3H2 is cancelled, 2NH3 plus O2 plus 3 by 2 O2, which is what, 5 by 2 O2, gives rise to 2NO plus 3H2O. Okay, so this is the overall reaction we are able to get by adding the modified equations, which means what, the overall reaction equilibrium constant K will be equal to what, product of equilibrium constants of the modified reactions, means what, 1 by K1 into K2 into K3 cube. So what is the answer for the K value? K value will be equal to what, K2 into K3 cube, K2 into K3 cube divided by K1. So the correct answer for this is option A. So in this question we are looking at the relation between the equilibrium constant. So if you have any equation, we reverse the equation, means equilibrium constant becomes what, reciprocal of the original. If we multiply the equation by a factor f, means the equilibrium constant will be raised to the same factor f. The modified equation equilibrium constant will be equal to what, K to the power f. These are the modifications in terms of the equilibrium constant. And if you have a set of reactions, by adding them we will get the overall reaction. Then the equilibrium constant of the overall reaction will be equal to what, it will be equal to the product of the equilibrium constants of the step reactions. So this is about the part 1 video, and we will see in the part 2.